Warning. The following video contains death, gore, death, walkers being splattered, death, fictional characters dying, death, animals that look like they're dying but aren't actually dying because the fictional TV show none of it's real, death, ketchup that might possibly look like blood to the untrained eye, however I've tasted it myself and I assure you it's just a tomato's milk, and if I haven't mentioned already, death. If I've not made it clear already, please be aware this video is for entertainment and analytical purposes only. Everything shown is fictional and presented as part of a story recap and death count. I'm not here to promote or glorify violence, so YouTube please don't age or strict or demonetize my video again. I need my weekly 46M paycheck to fund my crippling funky flower fund. This video also features chaos, screaming, explosions, a bunch of brainless facts you probably didn't know, questionable editing choices.
Because you never know. Just like that.
Over-the-top violence, and basically everything else you probably shouldn't be watching while eating breakfast. Now, somewhere between all that, I somehow managed to give a 100% legitimate recap analysis of the story, and count every single death that occurs, from Harry the Human, to Tony the Turtle, and unfortunately, Willy the Walker and his many friends, all while cracking hilarious jokes. Viewer discretion is advised. We pick her from season 5, days after Rick. With Pete out the picture, Rick wastes no time moving in.
Swallow it.
Apparently there's nothing wrong with waiting for a guy to die than swooping in to seduce his wife.
So if you could play any other character on The Walking Dead, who would it be and why?
Might have to be Shane, because then I get to actually sleep with my wife.
He cooks up a plan to deal with the pit stops with walkers, and did you know this quarry scene wasn't actually in the first draft of the script? They found the location first, then built the storyline around it. The impressive thing is, most of it's digital effects. People say the CGI in the show is bad, and I am people, but moments like this make me go,
perhaps I treated you too harshly.
For Rick to suggest we're gonna wrangle 20,000 of the undead and lead them away. 20,000, 20,000, 20,000, 20,000.
Oh, I hope that's not true, because when things inevitably go blues up, I need to sit here and count them.
30,000 walkers. Just look at this. Look at all of these walkers.
We keep making it bigger, we keep making it better.
You keep making me want to pull the trigger. Since they're all CGI, there's no real way to know how many walkers are here, and I would rather bathe with a toaster than count them all. While Rick's giving a speech,
You see that?
thank goodness Sasha's here. The whole crew would have missed the cliff collapsing and truck falling 100 feet if she didn't say.
See that?
Now, the question is, do I go with KitchenAid or Smeg? As I've got to figure out how many walkers just got crushed.
Someday, but not today.
I tallied 116, and we aren't even a minute in. With the walkers now free, the mission is a go-go. Objective: lead the dead away so it's someone else's problem. Step 1. Set up barriers to stop the walkers from escaping. Step 2. Fire flares to make sure the walkers stay on track. Step 3. Don't get eaten. Plan seems simple enough. What could possibly go wrong? Before we go any further, I'm curious, in more ways than one. Let me know your death prediction down in the comments below. And a quick shout out to my long list of channel members for keeping my Adobe subscription alive. Cool. Moving on, we cut to a black and white flashback, cause AMC think we are dum-dum. Without this filter, how else would we know what's past and present? We might have just assumed Rick was teleporting again, but thanks to the black and white effect, we're reassured it's a flashback.
It's Carol, right?
Since Atlanta, yeah.
And were you a cop too?
Why would you think that?
You're always watching. You seem ready.
He catches up with Morgan while disposing of Pete. That's when they stumble across the quarry. Ron, Peter's kid, pops out the bushes, getting chased by 5 homers. Rick then drags them back home, fills everyone in about the quarry, and now we're all caught up. Team A's busy leading the herd away, but a few of them take heavy hits against the barrier, resulting in 4 deaths. Meanwhile, Glenn takes Group B to deal with another cluster of the dead that's causing a bit of a commotion. Abraham spots a few walkers wandering off course because apparently they've stopped caring about noise and food. Now they love chasing shiny, sparkly things.
Look at me. You didn't see Reg the night he got it? I still think I got some of his brains in my ear.
Abraham definitely has a few screws loose. I forgot to mention, while they were setting up the barriers, a few walkers stumbled out looking for a bite. Rick tells his people to stand down, wanting to test how the Alexandrians handle themselves, but Morgan's not down for Rick's little experiment, stepping in and ends a 5-biters himself. The plan's going smoothly, for the most part. We do lose Carter, since he wasn't following step 3 of the plan. But does anyone care? Yeah, that's gonna cause some problems next episode. The episode opens with Enid crying in a car, wimp, watching her parents get eaten. Aw, now I feel bad. She hits the road, robbing a poor walker along the way, and guts a turtle for dinner.
So good and tasty?
She writes JSS with its bones. We later find out it stands for Just Survive Somehow, which I guess is a catchphrase, considering she writes it about 5 times this episode alone. She arrives at Alexandria, and wait, this was a flashback. I thought those only happened in black and white. You know, since colour hadn't been invented yet. Well, now she's back home. It's time to find out what happened in Alexandria.
You know, Shell, I could teach you how to make pasta with your own 2 hands. But you'd have to promise not to smoke in the house. It's just a disgusting habit, and it kills you.
Dang! Carol wasn't lying. Smoking does kill. So does burning. Turns out the town's getting attacked by some lunatics rocking a W on their heads, just like those chaps from season 5. Carol's making her way to the armory, passing a lumberjack and a resident getting slashed. After getting justice for our friend, Carol suffocates the bitch, ventures up on the watchtower, spotting not 1, but 2 bodies, and Rosita saving a girl. Slowly turning his head, he spots a truck barreling straight towards them. Luckily, he pops the driver before any major damage can happen. The horn starts horning, just like we heard in the previous episode, and while he's busy trying to figure out how a car horn works, 2 new bodies get added to the toll. That's when Morgan shows up to shut it off.
We need to get in there. You coming? Hide.
Spencer stays back and hides, not because he's scared, he just respects the 1v1.
Fight! Fatality.
Carol, you dick. Ron's playing catch with his new friend when Cole's like, I can be your hero, Ronnie. I can keep you away from pain. But Ron would rather die than be a cook, so storms off home, where he might just get his wish, since Jessie's currently fighting for her life. She gets the upper hand and goes full on Edward on her attacker, and it's so graphic, I can't even show it. For some reason, as soon as Jessie grabbed those scissors, the only thing I could think of was, if she's a hairstylist, why does she punish her son by giving him the Will Byers cut? Carol's continuing to blend in with the wolves, taking them out super easy. It's barely an inconvenience. After finally reaching the armory, she wounds 1 wolf and hit markers another. Morgan's busy getting down and dirty with a wolf, about to give him a bone if you know what I mean. Honestly, that's probably for the best. Rosita and Aaron push to her house and obliterate this one guy. Not counting his buddy yet, as we don't actually see him drop, so maybe he slipped away? Unlike this guy who's chopping away. He ain't escaping. Morgan then comes face to face with the guy from the campfire. No, not this guy. Bushy. I can't call him Bushy. The wolves surround him, so with no other options, Morgan does his best ghost impression. This scares off the remaining wolves, sending them packing, running past 3 corpses. Denise, the stand-in for Pete, is trying to resuscitate Holly. Is trying to resuscitate Holly. Why is there a C in this bitch? You know what? Screw you, Holly. She dies on the table. This episode's basically over at this point, but there are a few more deaths to run through. Maggie puts down Smoking Hot, Morgan whips a cutthroat, then stumbles across another. Owen, you might remember him as the other wolf Morgan met back in season 5. He goes for a walk, passing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bodies, and Carol, creating tension for future episodes. Rick races ahead of the herd, trying to redirect them back on course, and tells Michonne and Glenn, he tells all of them to take some Alexandrians back home, as they won't survive out here, which is ridiculous. They are more than capable. Oh, his face is gone. Up the trail, they run into a pack of walkers and jump straight into it, eliminating 13 and decapitating 2. Some kid named Sturgis did panic and whip out his Pewee, only to commit a hate crime before running off. Joke's on him though, we find him later in a town with a new group of friends. They head out in a pet store, and is that a monkey? Comparing it to these images, I would say it's more monkey than anything else. Off topic, something I can't comprehend. This town is meant to be the halfway mark.
It's halfway home, right?
Yeah.
Right, fair enough. How fast is Morgan? The horn starts and...
Surprise, motherfucker.
Rick finds a group of walkers having a feast.
I'm gonna try to set him in your way.
Dang, he just cut himself with a knife covered in walker blood nonetheless. Good thing nothing will happen, since that's not how the virus works. Unless some convoluted plot twist changes it in, oh, I don't know, 42 episodes time? Cough, cough. Glenn takes Nicholas out on distraction duty, walking past 5, no 6, wait 7, make that 11 bodies, and it only gets worse when Rick runs past this cluster of joy. Using these 2 scenes to count everything not moving, I can confidently say I'm going for Smeg.
Tomorrow.
I guarantee there's 28. However, I'm removing 4 as they were counted back in episode 1. Michonne hears some banging coming from the good boy poster, and when it's taken down, we find a door leading to 2 walkers. The commotion lures the biters outside, so the group make a quick escape, taking out 7, decapitating 2 more, and dropping a 3rd while on the run. One of the Alexandrians, who couldn't walk without help, gets left to fend for herself, which does make for a decent distraction, buying the others enough time to hop the fence and escape. Well, most of them. When climbing over the fence, they shoot a total of 6 walkers, and probably should have shot this guy too. Instead, they just watch him cry in pain, then leave him to suffer. Join Alexandria today. It's a sanctuary for all, community for all. Glenn and Nicholas aren't having a great time either. I mean, not as bad as him, but they do get pinned in a dead-end alley, with some hungry hippos closing in hot. Managing to take out 10 before running out of ammo. Now this is where things get difficult. I don't see many bodies drop, and I can only count what I can see. So I'm adding 7 more to the toll. They climb on top of this dumpster, and Nicholas, seeing no hope of surviving, decides to take the easy way out. There's no way Glenn could survive this. Not unless he's in... The fun's not over yet, as Rick's waiting for the separator horde to catch up so he can lead them back, but gets a surprise from the remaining wolves. The van won't start, which is perfect timing, since the horde just showed up. This episode is great. However, I have some problems. Yeah, there's a lot of that happening. But my main problem, the previous episode left us with a bunch of cliffhangers. And instead of getting answers, we get a 1-hour episode featuring Crazy Morgan and the Cheese Man.
My name's Cheese.
After Morgan's finished his rampage, he starts hunting a different kind of prey.
But she's a fine-looking goat. Something strangely attractive about her. She's like a supermodel of goat.
Oh, okay. Before we find out how attracted he is to that goat, Cheeseman interrupts. No one to lose his friend?
She's a much prettier goat. Cheese.
Waking up inside a cage, Morgan immediately asks the man to kill him. But the guy, who goes by Eastman, turns out to be a pacifist who practices Aikido, a defensive fighting style where you hit people with sticks, I guess? He's also a former psychologist. He's a former doctor, instantly recognizing that Morgan's suffering from PTSD after losing his family. So Eastman helps him through it, teaching him the ways of pacification and veganism. Honestly, I think killing him would have been a kind of punishment. The two slowly start forming a friendship, and Morgan even saves his goat from 2 walkers. Then one day while out scavenging, Eastman gets bitten by the walkified version of 315. While protecting Morgan, who's busy reliving his past actions. And the rules are pretty simple. When you lose a friend, you murder a family. So he starts another rampage. Except this time, he actually lets the people live, proving that maybe he really has changed thanks to Eastman. He heads back to the cabin and finds a walker feasting. They say their final goodbyes.
For the rest of your life, you could stay here. But you shouldn't stay here. You stay here, you'll be alone. Everything is about people. Oh, wait. Hope it's lucky for you, too. It's lucky for you, too. Hope it's lucky for you, too. I'm ready. I have a gun in the lockbox out there.
Did you know that rabbit's foot is the same one Morgan left at the church altar in the post-credit scene of Season 5, Episode 8? Fact! The episode ends with Morgan back in Alexandria, talking to Owen the Wolf, trying to convince him to turn away from violence, just like Eastman did for him.
You noticed I'm shaking a little, sweating a little.
I understand what's happening, so let me explain. Somebody has a cut. Somebody has a cut. Yes, I knew that.
I know I'm probably going to die, but if I don't, I am going to have to kill you, Morgan. I'm going to have to kill every person here, the children too.
Morgan might have to whip out the big guns for this one. Have you tried veganism? If Morgan can't save him, and he won't kill him, that leaves him quite a predicament. And since I can't remember what happened to this guy, I'm actually curious what Morgan ends up doing. Deanna looks on in horror as Rick shows off his super sweet dance moves. Go Ricky, go Ricky, go Ricky. He also leads the separated walker herd towards Alexandria. And considering the whole plan was to lead the dead away, not bring them to the front door, it made me realize Rick is one selfish mofo, bringing all that death right back to his loved ones. Shane wouldn't have done that. Rick once again gives a speech to the community, shouting at everyone to stay quiet whilst being the loudest one there.
The wall's gonna hold together. The others, they're gonna be back.
They're gonna be back.
Carl can't find Enid, so he asks Ron for some help, which you kinda have to respect. Yo, where's your girlfriend at? I miss her. Ron's still not about that life, and the two of them start a formal rivalry when we get this incredible fight. Wow, that was cinema. That's probably the most exciting part of the episode, so I'm gonna blast through the rest in under 30 seconds. Jesse finds and ends a resident walker. Aaron and Maggie head out for the sewers looking for Glenn, but instead find 2 sewage walkers who look pretty crap. They reach the end of the tunnel and realize there's no escape. Maggie breaks down and admits she's pregnant. Dr. Denise and Tara share some spit, then night falls. Denise gets attacked by a walker-fied wolf, the same one Carol hit Market and got away back in episode 2. With no walker killing experience, Deanna goes crazy defending herself, stabbing everywhere but the head, until Rick shows up and ends it. And since nothing gets Rick going like fresh blood, he hooks up with Jesse. Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha are still leading the herd away when bullets start flying. They manage to take down 2 of them while the rest chase Daryl, running over a couple of walkers before he finally gives them the slip, finding himself in a burnt forest. He wanders through the ashes, coming across 7, make that 8, child skeletons, then runs into a group of strangers who mistake him for one of the gunners. They take Daryl prisoner and pass another 16 skeletons when taking him to a fuel compound to look for their friend. But all they find are walkers. One of the women faints and Daryl spots his chance, grabbing their bag and making a run for it. He grabs his crossbow and takes out a walker. Did you know? This walker is a nod to Season 2, Episode 4, titled Cherokee Rose, the one where young Daryl makes up a story about hope, telling Carol not to give up on people. So after finding a box of insulin, he decides to go back. Because if they didn't kill him, they can't be that bad. Oh, Daryl's dead. A truck full of gunners heads towards, so Daryl helps them hide, shaking a bush to lure one guy in so a walker can grab him. And when amputating the bite, they're able to escape. Abraham and Sasha decide to take shelter and wait for Daryl to find them, but Abraham gets tired of waiting, so he strolls over to a walker that's hanging around and grabs a seat to watch it slowly swing to its demise. When it finally drops, it leaves a rocket launcher behind. So now he's got rockets, he's got cigars. The only thing he's missing is the holy dapper. Now that's a man I'd follow into war. The diabetic, whose name I've already forgotten, rushes off to a greenhouse to visit 2 people she used to know, and finds them melted to the ground. So she grieves like we all do, by elbow dropping them. Daryl offers to recruit the other 2, Dwight and Sherry, hoping they have a bit more brain cells, but they end up double-crossing him, stealing his boat and bike. Not all's bad though. He finds a truck, then does a kill twirl to celebrate. Yippee! Ending the episode picking up Abraham and Sasha, then heading home.
Help?
When this happened, I was sure Glenn was done for. Hundreds of walkers surrounding him, all trying to grab a slice, and there's zero hope in sight. So when I watched this episode and found him alive, I kinda lost respect for the show. Don't get me wrong, I was happy one of my favorite characters was still alive, but this is some next level plot armor. We've seen Glenn survive impossible stuff. The well in Season 2, Mill's wrath in Season 3, the prison virus Season 4, that walker stepping over him in Season 4, submerged in walkers. Also, Season 4, getting shot in the chest and somehow teleporting away in Season 5. But I could excuse all of that until this. Maybe Glenn will never die, as he's too important to the plot. Nevertheless, a lot of things do die here, so let's get into it. Glenn crawls under the dumpster and takes out 6 walkers before passing out. After enough time, he makes an escape. Enid throws him a bottle of water. God, I really don't pronounce my T's. Enid throws him a bottle of water, as apparently she was watching a dumpster for some reason, then runs off. Glenn chases after her and finds a guy who was left to suffer by his friends. At least Glenn shows him mercy. He convinces Enid to come home, and on the way, they kill one walker and find some balloons they can use to distract the herd back at Alexandria. Speaking of, Rosita's given the Alexandrians some much needed training, and Spencer gets a redhead yet to shimmy across a rope, trying to reach a car and lead the dead away. Pretty good plan. What could go wrong? Tara lays down some cover and fire, taking out 8 walkers and giving Spencer an opening to climb back up.
Tara! You almost died once for these people! The hell were you doing?
Glenn sends up some balloons to let Maggie know he's alive. I mean, firing a gun would be more helpful, as it would lure the dead away, but it doesn't matter now because the clock tower collapses, taking down a wall with it. That can't be good. And did Rick just push her over? After falling on the saw, Rick rushes Diana off home, and things aren't looking great for Maggie either. She's somehow injured her ankle and is getting swarmed by the dead. She penetrates 3 of them, lucky bastards, before making the climb up to safety. Eugene is currently wearing his brown pants today, and when the girls come to rescue his ass, the others catch up to Rick and help defend Diana. Even Big Gabe gets his hands dirty. Unfortunately, they still end up surrounded. Fortunately, Jesse's here, popping 4 of them and creating an opening for everyone to regroup at her place. Bet Rick's feeling really guilty right about now. The camera pans away from the party, revealing 5 bodies for the toll. And back inside, we find out Diana was bitten by the saw, which triggers Sam's vein on flashbacks.
Because the monsters...
Carol and Morgan are hiding out too. When her spidey senses start tingling, she uses a force push on him in order to find out what he's hiding, and after heading downstairs, she comes face to face with the stray. She threatens to put him down like the mutt he is, so Morgan, being the loving pacifist he is, choke slams the bitch. Turns out Carol might have actually been right here, as a dog bites and takes Denise hostage. Another conflict worth mentioning, Ron brings Carl to the garage for round 2. Only this time, it's more than a shoving match. The commotion draws in the walkers, and with Rick being occupied, the dead stop piling in. Once Rick eventually realizes his sons are missing, he hacks off the lock and they all gather upstairs, bringing 2 walkers with them to use as blood camouflage. They hit the streets like a wrench on a Wednesday night. Wait, I take that joke back. I forgot there was an infant with them. They hit the streets like they are a jackhammer and leave Diana behind to make a last stand. The episode opens with a cameraman having a stroke or something, but more importantly, I'm gonna have one too by the end of this season. All thanks to this one episode. You may ask, why, my dear Benji? What on earth is so wrong? You bloody well know what's wrong. And if you don't, then you're about to. Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha are getting held up by some biker boys.
Your property now belongs to Negan.
They collect their guns, and when Abraham refuses to hand his over, the biker dude drops one of the best quotes of all time.
If you have to eat shit, best not to nibble. Bite, chew, swallow, repeat.
Funny thing is, I have that exact scene tattooed on my arm. One of the bikers takes Daryl to the back of the van for a bit of choking. Lucky bast. While the main guy holds the others prisoner, threatening to pull the trigger.
What a bunch of assholes.
Our gang's still pushing through the Walker crowd, stopping in the middle to have a nice chat. Remember when Walkers used to be a threat? The show doesn't. They come up with a plan to grab their cars from the quarry and lead the dead away. Gabriel steps up and redeems himself, offering to take Judith to the church for safety. Yeah, okay, buddy. You're doing this for Judith's safety. Sure. Everyone else heads out, and on the way, Sam freezes after seeing a Walker child. Good thing Rick didn't say it. He loves them dead fuck. He starts crying, Sam, not Rick, and walks around and make quick note of it. Jessie gets eaten too because she's also screaming for some strange reason. Rick, no one to have his flirtatious time wasted, decides to chop off her hand. Not gonna say why, but I'll let you use your imagination. Ron can't take it anymore after seeing his mother and brother get torn apart, and starts blaming Rick for his whole family getting killed, which is ridiculous. Ron's dad, fair enough. Rick wanted some ass. Fine. But Sam and Jessie, Rick had nothing to do with that. It's not like he's the reason this entire horde's here in the first place. Wait. Now I think about it, Rick is a walking death charm. The Greens, dead. The Andersons, dead. The Monroes, dead. And I haven't even mentioned all these people. You know what? Shoot him. I don't think I can show this on YouTube, but a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, have a problem with this scene because the gun's clearly facing down. But you guys don't understand how bullets work like I do. You see, when Ron fired, the bullet ricocheted off the floor, bounced off the wall, and gravity pulled it towards the biggest thing around. Carl's warm head. It's simple sauce. Owen's trying to escape with Denise, but while dealing with a Walker, she gets attacked. So he rushes in to save her, and gets bit in the process. Meaning that Morgan is right, people can change. This is a good sign. Maybe once his arm's removed, he can be part of the community. Or not. Denise makes it to Aaron's, and when looking out the window, she spots Michonne slicing up 3 walkers and Rick sprinting with an unconscious Carl. So she locks in and starts trying to save the boy. Meanwhile, Rick heads back out to take on the horde. And that he does. He whoops so much arse, it actually inspires the rest of the Alexandrians to join. So yay.
Hey! I'm not afraid anymore! I said I'm not afraid anymore! Do you hear me? I'm not afraid anymore!
After way too much counting, I tallied 96 Walker kills. And because I have such a deep self-hate, I double checked that number by counting every body shown. If there are 100, I'd add 4 more. Thankfully, it only came out to 69. A number I'll be doing in the bathroom soon with my toaster. Maggie's tower starts to wobble, so Glenn grabs the Walker's attention, giving Enid time to climb up and add even more weight to the structure. Okay. He goes on to pop another 11 Walkers. Before getting completely swarmed and torn apart. Yep, Glenn's never gonna die.
Can you get the gate? Appreciate it, pal.
The Alexandrians are still fighting, killing 73 more, and slowly get pushed back to the fence. Lucky for them, Daryl has a plan. All the walkers turn their backs. Sure, that makes sense. Making it easy for the survivors to slash away at them. And with the lake on fire, burning everything down, I realized I don't make money from these videos. So figure it out yourself. What I actually realized is I need some help. So I searched many hours and came up with nothing. I did find these sources, 3 of which claim around 300 extras are used for episode 1 and other Walker intense scenes. And if you ask me, this looks pretty damn intense. But since the numbers are all over the place, I figured, when in doubt, pull it out.
You're gonna make me count? Okay. I'm counting.
Oh, I'm losing my mind. This really is maximum effort.
I am now going to assault your mind with subliminal messages. Sorry you had to see that.
6.5 hours later.
Right, the amount of walkers that either got stabbed, poked, shot, burnt, or fainted during this was 223. To put that in perspective, when this episode started, the toll was sitting at 409. It is now at 846. Meaning, this one episode racked up 437 deaths. And we still have 7 more to go. This episode opens with a brainless bite. Did you know the reason Carl never got his hair cut from Jessie is because she's dead? But also, it's way easier to cover up his eye, or, you know, lack of one. A few days, weeks, months have passed since the last episode, and Rick and Daryl are preparing to go on a supply run.
I drew a line between the important stuff and that. I just figured if you saw it.
You like it, right?
No, I don't drink pop.
The hell's pop?
Bop, my good man, is what the British will call your soda. We call it bop because when you open a fresh can, you can hear it go bop, 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 bop. And we were like, oh, jolly good, it's popping.
I got it.
Rick and Daryl find a truck filled with food and take it back home. They stop at a gas station to grab a few essentials, when out of nowhere, Jesus descends from the heavens and commits Grand Theft Auto. They follow the tracks and get the jump on him, only for him to immediately get the better of them. Well, almost.
This is done. Do you even have any ammo?
They tie him up and drive off, but somehow he managed to climb up onto the roof of the truck.
Hold on.
This scene, and pretty much the whole episode, is incredible. While Daryl is out playing Bulldog with Jesus, a sentence I never thought I would ever say, Rick takes out the local walkers. Jesus tries to re-steal the truck, except this time, he comes packing.
Duck.
Thanks. It's my gun!
He accidentally knocks it into reverse when getting thrown out, and then gets knocked out by the truck door. Rick kills the final walker, and they just stand there, watching the truck sink. Like my hopes and dreams. I mean, they could go and get the supplies, but neither Rick nor Daryl can swim, and Jesus has his own problems with the water. Spencer and Michonne are looking for Walker Deanna, a plot line that confuses me so much. We last saw Deanna with a whole group of walkers coming straight for her, yet somehow, instead of getting torn apart, she managed to slip past them. And if she shut the door in time, wouldn't she still be locked in that room? I'm probably just too brainless to understand. They take Jesus home and rest up for the night, but not much resting happens in the Grimes household, if you know what I mean. Now, I'm not gonna show and tell, but I'll give you a hint. Haha, no. Pre-marriageable sex is wrong. That's why Jesus appears.
We should talk.
Turns out Rick's not the only man who suddenly wants some delicious caramel, as after their time alone in the office, Abraham and Sasha have been developing a friendship that's leaning towards something more, and an intense But first, he has to end things with Rosita. In more important news, Jesus explains he comes from a different community and wants them to accompany him back home so they can set up a trade agreement between them.
Get your stuff.
No, I'm not coming. Kid with a messed up face probably wouldn't make the best first impression anyway.
Alright, here's a baby ugly. He leads them back home, and on the way, he spots one of their cars flipped over. They push into a dark building looking for any survivors and take off 3 walkers. Glenn and Daryl head down a different corridor and find a few more. Now that everyone's rescued, they hit the road again, arriving at the community known as Hilltop. They meet the leader, Gregory.
I'm the boss.
Some Hilltop members return with news that a man named Negan isn't happy with the last trade and keeping one of them prisoner until this guy delivers a message to the boss.
I'm the boss.
A fight breaks out which ends with Rick killing the attacker.
What?
And when the Hilltop doctor checks on Gregory, the rest of the group get informed about the situation.
We heard the name Negan. Who is he? Negan's the head of a group of people he calls the Saviors. As soon as the walls were built, the Saviors showed up. They met with Gregory on behalf of their boss. He made a lot of demands, even more threats. Gregory's not exactly good at confrontation.
You made the deal.
Half of everything. Our supplies, our crops, our livestock, it goes to the Saviors.
So they show up, they kill a kid, and you give them half of everything? These dicks just got a good story. Boogeyman, he ain't shit.
Yeah, okay, buddy.
If we go get your man back, kill Negan, take out his boys, will you hook us up? We want food, medicine, and one of them cows.
Did you know that in medieval times, they thought cow milk was blood that had been whitened and refined in the cow's teat? Fact.
Confrontation's never been something we've had trouble with.
Confrontation's never been something we've had trouble with.
Confrontation's never been something we've had trouble with.
Our group makes some big promises, saying they will storm the Savior's compound and kill Negan. That's the trade. What could possibly go wrong?
Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a tiger by the toe.
Carol's out picking some shrooms because she's here for a fun time, not a long time. But a walker ruins her buzz. So she heads back and makes some edibles for the community.
I never was much of a beat kind of
You
guy.
just put it in your mouth, jerk.
Resistant, stupid, joke.
That's what she said.
Rick calls a town meeting to explain their deal with Hilltop. Killing saviors equals food. Morgan, of course, has an issue with it, but surprisingly, Carol does too. She's been making a list of every kill she's racked up, and it's starting to weigh on her, even though the list is a load of cow dung. I got no clue who R is. Maybe Ryan? Lizzie and Mika's father? But she didn't kill him, she stopped him from resurrecting, so he doesn't count. Then we've got K and D, Karen and David, the 2 sick members from the prison. L for Lizzie, yeah, that's all fair. Termites 3, it should only be 2. I made a whole video counting that mess, and only 2 actually died by her hand. Candlewoman 4, I have no idea how that adds up. This is the only Candlewoman I can think of, and calling her the size of 4 is a bit harsh. WS being the wolves, she fought 7, I counted 8. So all of that only comes to 14. If she really wants to be hard on herself, we could say 15 if we add the woman she gave mercy to after the wolf sliced her up. Moral of the story, Carol can't count. But what she can do is make Tobin eat her cookie. Abraham chooses to leave Rosita.
You can tell me why. Tell me why.
I thought you were the last woman on Earth.
You're not.
Damn! You could have just said there was someone else. Hell, smacking her and throwing her out the window head first would have been nicer than this. On their way to the compound, they stop to gather some walker heads as Rick is missing Jesse's hand. But also, they're hoping that at night, the saviors won't notice the head's not Gregory. And when making the exchange, one guard heads in to go and fetch the prisoner, and the other gets stealthily taken out. When he returns with a friend, they sneak in while the rest are fast asleep, making it easy to. In one of the rooms, we get a lovely reminder that these people aren't just killers. They're scrapbookers, taking photos of their victims and proudly hanging them up. While Sasha's picking a lock, Abraham gets surprised from behind. Sasha does manage to slash the guy, but unfortunately, he still sets off the alarm before succumbing to his injuries. And for the sake of the toll and my editing sanity, all death splats inside the outpost will appear top right. With everyone at the outpost now cleared, Heath and Tara head off for their 2-week supply run. One last survivor does try to escape with Daryl's bike and immediately gets taken down. But just as he's about to be shot, a voice comes over the radio.
Go on out. Let's talk.
I'm over here stroking my dick. I got lotion on my dick right now. I'm just stroking my shit. I'm horny as fuck, man. I'm a freak, man. Like, for real.
I don't have much to say about this episode either, mainly because it's a big piece of shit. So I'm gonna rush through it so I don't bore you. We start with Carol shooting a guy in the arm before getting surrounded. The saviors kill a few walkers.
Try anything else.
Alright, this is the deal.
Before the girls get bagged and dragged all the way to a factory. Carol starts hyperventilating at the thought of killing these kind folk, and I can't be the only one who assumed this was all some elaborate plan to escape, but nope. Carol slips out and walks past 2 bodies, and a lady adding 2 more to the toll. She finds Maggie, and together they come across the man Carol shot earlier, dead. That's 1 more for your list. They use his walker as a trap to bite another savior. After she kills him, Maggie sneaks up and pistol whips her, again and again and again. When escaping, the final human kills are on these savior reinforcements, who walk straight into a trap. Maggie decides she's bored and wipes out the remaining walkers. Then Glenn shows up to rescue them from this horrid episode.
Your friends are dead. No one's coming for you.
Morgan builds a jail cell because he didn't like what happened at the Savior outpost. So next time something like this happens, Rick can just cram all 30 Saviors into this one cell. I guess. Look, Morgan, I'm not trying to be sexist here, but that's fucking stupid. Rosita, Daryl and Denise head out to scavenge medical supplies when they come across a fallen tree blocking the road.
When I was just a little boy, I asked my father, what will I be?
Since they got past the fallen tree, they're able to hit the pharmacy and take every pill and bottle in sight, like me on the weekend. Am I right, guys? I'm joking. I don't go outside. While they're inside catching a buzz, I'll add the 5 bodies outside to the toll. Eugene and Abraham are out too, scouting a nearby factory.
Guard duty, weapons training, changing up the hairstyle, swigging some swagger with the ladies, spitting game.
You don't spit game, you are game.
Eugene claims that here, he can manufacture bullets, but first, needs to deal with this walker.
Strike 1. Strike 2.
Why did you? I had full control of the situation.
You'd had better luck picking up a turd by its clean end.
After getting lasered, Abraham heads home, terrified by Eugene's end-world in power. While the girls are heading home, Denise finds a cooler that might possibly contain a soda. Right as she's arguing why Pepsi's better than Coke, she gets an arrow through the eye, courtesy of some saviors hiding in the trees. The bowman turns out to be Dwight, the guy who stole Daryl's crossbow a few episodes back. He's rejoined the saviors and now rocking the Two-Face look. He holds a gene machine hostage, or so he thinks. This was all an elaborate setup so Eugene could. That creates just enough chaos for Abraham to swoop in from behind and start the party. Rosita pops the guy creeping on Abe, and Eugene's still enjoying his all-you-can-meet.
I'm D. Or Dwight, you can call me either.
We can't anymore. With whatever dignity he has left, Dwight calls a retreat. Back at Alexandria, Eugene uses a force on Abraham.
Do you apologize for questioning my skills? I apologize for questioning your skills.
And Carol leaves a note saying, "Peace out, bitch." While on the road, Carol gets held up by some saviors, and when they think they've got the upper hand, she whips out a hidden gun, dropping 2 instantly and leaving 3 alive to spread the word. One of the saviors decides he wants revenge and launches a counterattack. Meanwhile, Rick and Daryl head out to track her down, following her trail and ending a savior who's bleeding out, which means there's still one more out there. And if he's not this Walker, where is he? Well, we don't wait too long to find out, as when they follow the bloody tracks into a field, the lone survivor shows up right behind them. They come across a Walker they think might be Carol, so Morgan... Thankfully, it's not her. Pushing up to a farm, they find a man putting down a Walker. Rick nearly shoots him on sight, but Morgan intervenes. Morgan tells Rick a story about a wolf, hoping it will change his mind about killing.
But all life is precious. The wolves. After they attacked, I found one of them. Put him in the cell of the brownstone basement. All life is precious. And that man escaped. And Denise, she had come to the cell to try and help him, and he took her hostage. All life is precious. They got swarmed. And that man, that killer, he saved her life. And then Denise was there to save Carl. But all life is precious.
Isn't this the equivalent of me setting your house on fire, then saying I saved you by opening the front door? Denise wouldn't have been outside if it wasn't for him.
But all life is precious.
Okay, fine. But I've got some bad news, Morgan. You might need to tell that whole story again, because Rick is zoned the fuck out. He tells Rick to head home, while he'll keep searching for Carol in a more peaceful way.
Take it.
They separate with a final message.
Michonne did steal that protein bar.
Daryl takes off too, but only to find and end the saviors who killed Denise. Some of the others follow behind, hoping to stop him before he does something stupid. And when they finally catch up to him, they immediately get surrounded. Morgan rides past 4 dead ends on a horse he spawned in. He also stumbles into Carol, who's looking a bit chubby. He gives her a health pack, hoping that in return, she'll come home. But when climbing a satellite to end a Walker, which is just so unnecessary, she runs off again. Morgan, buddy, take a hint. While Morgan heads out again to look for Carol, the main cast and Aaron gather up in an RV to take Maggie to Hilltop, since something's wrong with the Baba. On the way, they drive straight into a savior trap. Rick tries talking deals, so Simon steps up, saying he's taking all their stuff and killing one of them, as a show of good business. Rick politely declines, so Simon politely threatens.
Maybe you should be extra nice to those people in that RV, because you never know. Just like that.
And just like that, Abraham backs it up, just like his daddy taught him good. They try another route to Hilltop, but every road is blocked. At one of the stops, the saviors have a whole chain of walkers stretched out across the path. And when the group get closer, they see one walker wearing Maggie's jacket and another with Daryl's bolt sticking out. The saviors start shooting at their feet to scare them, which does absolutely nothing to Rick, who just starts clearing the chain with Sasha's help. Morgan catches up to Carol's trail, but so does the Lone Wanderer, who's wanting to make her death as slow and painful as possible, shooting her in the arm and the leg. honestly, still not as bad as what the Alexandrian's done in episode 3. He's about to do more when Morgan shows up. Jesus! Ending the base storyline with the guy who nearly got his temple shattered showing up to help. The last roadblock is a giant pile of sticks that the savior set on fire after hanging a man from a bridge. So trying to outsmart them, Eugene comes with a plan. He'll take the RV somewhere else while the rest head through the woods on foot, carrying Maggie all the way to Hilltop. And in this moment, I was sure Eugene was a dead man, but nope. You cannot kill a god, so we'll see him again in just a little bit. The plan sounds pretty solid, right up until the pod where it ends with them completely surrounded and massively outnumbered. The saviors order them to their knees and reunite them with the others, so I guess that's a win. Always look on the bright side of life. Ba-dum, 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 ba-dum. Now that everyone's settled, it's time to meet the man.
You're Rick, right? I'm Negan.
Negan, the man who talks like a 12-year-old child discovering curse words for the first time.
Fucking cool. You have no fucking idea how fucking cool that shit is. You're fucking stupid shit. You are fucked. More fucked if you don't give me your shit. And if that's too much, I want you to work for me. And you can't do that if you're fucking...
I might as well just add this myself. He swears so much that I haven't been allowed to this entire video. Negan tells them he owns them now and automatically gets half of any and all supplies they have.
You don't really think that you were gonna get through this without being punished now, did you?
Oh, I've seen that movie before, and it's not appropriate for YouTube. So instead of doing that, he decides he's gonna beat one of them to a pulp with his barbed wire bat called Lucille. And no one likes pulp. In order to pick his victim, he plays eeny, meeny, miny, and when he reaches Mo, we switch to their POV.
All said, the death toll of the season is about 90. That makes it the second most lethal season after season 4.
So that was a fucking lie. Because in The Walking Dead season 6, there were 189 human deaths, 5 animals, 27 undefendables, 27 undecided corpses, and a whopping 753 walkers, bringing the final death toll to 974. That's a lot of death. And it completely shatters the previous record of 658, which was set in season 5. I said in that video it was 660, but then someone commented I'm a dumbass for counting some people twice. Hopefully everything's fine in this video, and let's pray that future seasons calm down a bit, as this was a pain to edit and tally. The most deaths obviously happened in episode 9, titled No Way Out, with an insane 437. And the least came from episode 5, titled Now, which only had the 5. 5 for 5. Alright, that's all from me, so hope to see you in a bit. I think I've developed OCD, as I cannot finish this video until it's reached the minute mark. I tried, but it's like an itch I can't scratch. It was keeping me awake at night. So I'm just going to waffle until the video ends. I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't even know what I'm going to say. Hopefully, it's a minute now. But if not, I'm going to sing the whole alphabet just in case. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H.